you very much for this nice introduction, and good morning from my part. I think I'm the only speaker today who will not talk about the printing industry. Otherwise, I would, or moreover, I will focus on a broader scope of productivity and generative AI, what we think companies. I will also try to answer the question if all of us will be replaced by AI software in the future. Spoiler alert, you will not be replaced, but you probably will be replaced by people using generative AI, because it's all about productivity. And so let's go into detail. So what we are doing, I come from the Fraunhofer Society. Most of you know the Fraunhofer Society. We are the largest society for applied research in Europe, a typical German model. I'm not sure if there are similar research institutions in other countries, because we're building the gap between basic research, which is done by universities, and company research. So we do applied research together with companies, and what is interesting is our financial model. We have a turnover about 3 billion, and 2/3 of this turnover is related to contract research, and the half of this contract research, the other third is basic research, which is invested in our facilities, and the other half of this contract research is in direct contract with companies, and we have to do this. So there are some incentives for us to work really close together with the industry. We have about 76 institutes. Right now we're building up a new research center in Heilbronn. I'm there for 5 years. In December we will announce that we enlarge our activities there, but I cannot speak openly about this. It's still some kind of secret. But you should have heard about Heilbronn. I don't know if you, is there anybody who never heard about the city of Heilbronn? Please raise your hands. Everybody knows Heilbronn. It's a quite small city, 70 kilometers in the north of Stuttgart. It is the headquarters of the Lidl Schwarz group. You know Lidl Schwarz, retail company, very, very large company. About 400,000 employees. And they are the founder of this company. Dieter Schwarz is heavily investing in research and education in Heilbronn. And there is a whole ecosystem arising, which tries to cover really the whole journey from education, elementary school. This is here, where is the school? Josef Schwarz Schule, the largest private school in Europe, up to different kinds of universities until top universities. And this year, ETH in Zurich announced they will build up 20 professorships in Heilbronn with focus on AI. TUM will build up 30 professorships. They have already built up 15 there. So it's really amazing what's going on, and we are also located there. I'm there for 5 years. And the most ambitious project, I think, is the Innovation Park of Artificial Intelligence, the IPI, which will be a whole complete new district focused on the development of AI products together with companies. And this campus is on 23 hectares. It will be opening in 2027. And IPI is still is existing right now. So you can join IPI. You can work together with IPI. It's located in a different building right now, but we will all move there to this very interesting facility. So what we are doing is cognitive service systems. I don't want to go too much into details, but we focus on applied AI, computer vision, generative AI, machine data analytics, machine learning, sensor on the service business development. So we think that service will, every product will become a service in the future, and every value chain will become a service value chain in the future. And we also think about work together in ecosystems, for instance, when it's all about sharing data in an ecosystem. So ecosystem perspective will become much more important. We have different focus industries. Public sector is very interesting for us, e-government and things like that. Of course, the industry, which is very strong in Heilbronn, and also distribution, retail. When you deal with AI, the bad news is you need to invest in infrastructure, in software infrastructure, and also in hardware infrastructure. This is our software stack. It's all open source software, from data gathering to data processing. You know these frameworks we use, of course. Surface. We have a Kubernetes cluster where we can deploy our services. And we recently invested heavily in hardware infrastructure. We bought a new GPU server, 8 NVIDIA HR100 and 1 terabyte RAM. This is what you need when you want to run a large language model on premise with 30 billion parameters, like Llama 3, which is our famous, the model that we usually use for our products. I will show you an example of what we are doing with this infrastructure. So two examples of our projects. This is with Audi. Audi is well known, of course. We have a huge plant in Heilbronn, a factory, where we work together with the TU Munich for 5 years now on factory transformation. And ICV is one topic. Every year we have an ICV project. And this year we focus on small data and ICV, because the problem is you have to detect use cases where ICV makes sense quite quickly. And it is not so easy to detect these use cases, and it is even more difficult to develop scalable products that run the same way and provide the same quality in different circumstances. When you use ICV, you have different lights and different factories, but the results have to be the same. So it has to, you have to secure that, make sure that these technology is also deployable to other factories. This is our few-shot learning method. So we are able to take a few pictures, train very quickly a model, ICV model, and then decide, does it make sense to use ICV for quality management in this or this use case. Another example where we use generative AI is in the early process. We developed this together with Schindler. The problem is Schindler has very different kinds of customer. Perspective of the architect, they have to consider the perspective of a facility manager. Legal aspects are different in different countries and different continents. So we use Gen AI to collect ideas, and on the right side you see an assistant. We use different models. You can choose different models. You can choose different roles, different customer roles, to reflect your ideas in very early stage. I show you how this works. You start this idea section. First you provide some context about your company, what you are doing, what's your topic, what you want to talk about. And then you start collecting ideas. So the system collects you several ideas. You can prioritize these ideas. You can go deeper into these ideas to develop new ideas. And from a law perspective, behind this are certain large language models which are pre-trained on these topics. And we also have a RAG system where you can put in your information, company information or product information, and then you get a very deep analysis and reflection of these ideas. And you can discuss this, and you can say, okay, this idea doesn't work for this and these reasons. And the fine-tuning and the RAG system is the thing that makes this very specific for certain applications. Let's talk about labor productivity. When you look about the 18 key industries for tomorrow. This is a brand new study from McKinsey. You will find out that is e-commerce, AI software, and cloud service, the most important industries. And when you talk about the expected annual growth rate, you see AI software is 20% growing each year. Why is this the case? So it's the fastest growing industry sector, because generative AI will become a cross-sectional technology which will be implemented in a lot of software applications. So we see right now the contours or the shaping of a second machine age, which was predicted by Brynjolfsson and McAfee in 2013, so far before we talk about generative AI. But the thesis, they were right. They said the next machine age will focus on the automation of service industries. So it's human competences, human activities, which will be intellectual, cognitive to this, and human-machine cooperation between machine software and human will become critical or crucial. And what does it mean for competencies?
Sorry to interrupt. 2014 or 24?
2014. Yeah, it's 10 years, since 10 years. So they were very early with their predictions, but very, very focused and on point. When you see, another example is here is a study which focuses on the question, which tasks does generative AI reach human level and when? And in 2017, experts were asked, when will humans be able, or when will machines be able to replace or to act like on a human level? And they said, for instance, creativity, 2045 up to 2065. Natural language generation, 2040 and further on. But when you ask the same people in 2023, they say natural language processing, it's there. So, and even creativity, it's there. So it's almost there, as I showed. So technology is really for 5 years, almost in all kinds of competencies and activities. Moreover, generative AI can be used on the whole value chain. So this is the Porter value chain. You have these core competences here, logistic, production, marketing, distribution, so on, and you have this support competencies, processes, and in every process, in every section of the value chain, you can use AI, generative AI-based software. I don't want to go too deep into details, but be sure there will be no process in the future, in the next 5 years, which is not affected by generative AI. When you look at productivity in detail, scientific experiments show that you have an increase in productivity, especially for when you compare writing text or something, and you also have an increase in quality at the same time. So you have a double effect on productivity. One person with a computer and ChatGPT, and the other room is a group of 4 people, and they have different tasks, the same task to develop ideas, brainstorming, speed, faster, much faster than the group results. That means it's not better, but you don't need a group to develop the same results. So it's really huge, the impact on productivity. Now, think about using, when the group also uses this technology, you even have more effects on productivity. So in case of writing, we think about time saving about 40%, 80% increase in quality. Of course, this depends on the task, but you see there are many activities, even consulting, knowledge-intensive activities, where we have these gains in productivity and also the gains in quality. Brainstorming, I told you the example, and of course the challenge, there are challenges here to deal with the technology, to think about strong and weak AI responses. So you have to make sure, is this really a good answer from the AI, and things like that. knowledge is becoming even more important, especially process knowledge and specific knowledge for specific tasks. What are the effects on competencies? As I said, there will be some tasks that will be automated. This is the bad news, but this is not. And even knowledge-intensive work, even software, because our AI engineers, they use AutoGPT and ChatGPT for developing their code, and they say 70% of the code is good. The other 30%, they have to rework about this and overwork this, but it's really good. Then there will be jobs that will be enabled to cover completely new tasks. When you're in the creative industry, this AI software will give you the ability to cover completely new tasks and provide new services for your customers. And finally, there will be new jobs created by this technology, which we don't know right now. But when you think about synthetic data and quality management, which is produced by Gen AI, then there might be complete new jobs. So one question, one slide about the competencies here, and an example about quite simple work of accounting, order purchasing. Today, you have one purchase order by the other. You work one by one. So it's very repetitive work. You don't need knowledge. So the blue one is the competence curve right now. The red one. You have some basic skills. You have a lot of process system skill, but you don't need reflect your work or ability to communicate. It's not so much communication intensive. But when you use Gen AI, this work will shift because this worker will become, or this clerk will become a quality manager. So the process will be automated, and every 100 tasks that will be checked by them, like a quality inspection, a sample inspection, and then you still need professional competence because you have to judge, is this correct or is this not correct? And then you need communication competence abilities to reflect, because when it's not correct, you identify there is a problem with the outcome of the AI, you have to act. You have to talk to managers, to customers, what are we doing? Do we stop this process? So the task will shift from processing to quality management, and this will lead to different competencies which the people will need. And what you see here is, for the first time in Germany, it's not the MINT skills, or I guess it's STEM skills, and to do their time management, to prioritize, to reflect. So it's social competencies. We used to think people bring them because they are socialized, they have these competencies, but this is not the case anymore. So this is the critical, really the gap right now, the critical resource is these extra functional competencies, which will become critical. It doesn't mean that MINT is not important anymore, but not so important anymore like in earlier scales. So are large language models the last invention humanity needs to make? I don't think so. I wouldn't go so far. But it's definitely the latest invention that we can't afford to underestimate, because it will affect us all. That's me. And if you have any questions, I hope I'm in time. Yeah? Thank you very much.